Hi, it's early. I've had my coffee. I've received some messages that want to come through for you. And the first one is that you are more than you think you are, and you are less than you know you are. If you are receiving it in the cards and the messages, then the energy is already in motion. You don't need to keep worrying about it. If you are receiving the messages, the energy is already in motion. So you need to focus on your preparedness, meet what rises, and rest in the knowing that you feel confirmed within your body. Your body will tell you what is for you and what isn't for you. This is somatic awareness, understanding what the signals in our sensory machinery is telling us. Right? Because our little critters, our cells, are very intelligent little creatures. I've always kind of fought with the meat suit label for ourselves, and here's why. If we talk about our body as if it is meat, something that we consume, something that we eat, something that we don't really value, then that is how we are treating ourselves in the world. So I don't like the meat suit label. These are my little critters. They're intelligent. They know what they're doing. And I just needed to develop the skills to learn to listen to them. And I have. Many of you are too. And that is what the messages are coming through, is that you have done a lot of the work. You have already set the energy in motion. A lot of this energy right now is just asking you to keep doing the small things, right? Sparrows come out a lot in the readings. And sparrows aren't flashy birds. They're common birds. They're brown birds. They're the ordinary small things in our day-to-day reality that call our attention to them. They call our choice points to them, right? We change timelines through these small acts, these small opportunities to choose ourselves over the noise that we hear, the conditioning and the programming that we hear from others. There's a lot in the world that is going to be asking you to balance your darkness and your light, because adversity is going to come to your door. It's going to meet you face to face. And if you aren't balanced in your darkness, it will call you into reactivity, which is what they want, right? That's what they want. They want you to react, because when you're reacting, you're not operating from your right brain. You're not operating from your logic center. You are reacting out of fear programming. It was very carefully seeded into us. The energies also want you to know, I have a lot of notes and they're scrambled, so I kind of have to look and find where the next stream is. So bear with me on that. There's a lot that came through today. The energies also want you to know that if you are chosen, you are already endowed, right? And our ego wants to hear chosen as some big, oh, I am bigger and brighter and better than others, and that isn't what it is. Chosen just means that you are living consciously. And instead of letting these autopilot processes run your show, you are consciously choosing your state of being, what emotions you're going to feed, what thoughts you're going to feed. That is being chosen. So if you are chosen, you are already endowed. You have all the skills active and online that are needed to meet what rises, right? And this is how we work with our reticular activating system, that part of our brain that filters our consciousness, that determines our alert states, but it also is where of all of our cognitive biases are. My dog is doing the stare down. Hold on just a second. Looking out the window. She's got some reflexy issues. I thought she was going to yurt for a minute, so I looked. So your the reticular activating system is your attention filter. It's the gatekeeper. It is what perceives what is coming in and filters it through your biases. Your biases determine how you view the world, right? So what assumptions are driving? What biases and generalizations are you using to navigate your reality? Because the energies are already in motion. They're already here. The changes that you have made are manifest in your reality. You just have to give it time for the physical reality to catch up with the work that you've done. And I've talked about this before with people, how when you change your behavior, you change the rules of the game, and it takes other people a little bit of time to adjust to the change themselves, because your changed behavior means their behavior and responses have to change. Right? So give your reality a little bit of time to catch up with what you're doing. Focus on your walk, your health. Ask the honest questions. Which assumptions are outdated about people, places, and things around me? And remember that you must be slightly delusional in order to be successful. You know, the Wright brothers, Noah and his ark, these people who invented and created these things that people didn't think were possible, even the inventors of AI, which we're all, sore about right now. My nose keeps itching. But even the inventors of AI, like when I was a kid, that was something that wouldn't have been able to be done, right? Until the invention of computers. All of these things took a little bit of delusion to step outside of what other people thought was possible. So ask yourself the honest question: what assumptions and biases am I operating out of that are outdated? What is serving me and what isn't serving me? You can choose your beliefs and your thoughts and your emotional states. That is being chosen. Where am I delaying because I don't want to let go of the relationship, the job, or the belief? This is what stops us from healing. This is what, to refer back to Lot and Lot's wife in Sodom and Gomorrah, right? Sodom and Gomorrah were burning. These were the old thought structures, the paradigms within our own mind and body that were no longer serving us, and they are burning down within you. And you are called to step forward, to leave these old ways of operating that are no longer working for you, and to step into something new, into the unfamiliar, the unknown. The lesson in Lot and Lot's wife is that if you spend all of your time, if you turn around and get stuck in the past reflection without taking the proactive steps towards it, that's where you turn into a pillar of salt. You calcify your pineal gland by staying in these past ways of being. The brain lives in paradox, right? The mind lives in this wonderful paradox where it seeks creative expression. It seeks the novel. It seeks the new. One, because that's how it detects threats. But two, because it wants to grow. It wants to discover more. It is innately curious. And then it seeks familiarity, runs to it. So we have this really awesome habit of taking these new things, these novel things, these new ideas, and trying to convert them into something familiar. Right? These are how our biases and things work. Now she's licking. The dogs are a wonderful distraction when I'm trying to do things. So we're being called to look at what fears will you surrender to that are preventing you from claiming your sovereign power? What fears are you surrendering to that are preventing you from claiming your sovereign power? Reflect on the meaning that you assign to beliefs, people, places, and things. Have they actually earned that value, or did you just give it because it seemed like the thing to do? Somebody else already assigned it to them, and so to not rock the boat, you assigned the authority. Where are you outsourcing your authority and agency, and have they earned it? Are they living a life that you want to live? Do they represent values and guiding principles that you want to reflect and learn about in your life? If you are following leaders that don't represent you, that is something to question in our energies today. Another thing to think about with this as you are reflecting on the meaning that you assign is who benefits from those beliefs? Who benefits from your current perspective of limitation? Who benefits from your submission to these ideas? How are your beliefs and your thoughts and your behaviors, right? The thoughts that you are choosing to take action on, who is benefiting from your limitation? And notice the body's responses to your perspectives, because your body knows what you came here to do. It knows what it came here for. Your little critters know what they want and need. Your soul knows what it wants and needs. Your mind is the interface between the two. So are they in coherence? Or does following the example of another cause you extreme discomfort? And what is that discomfort telling you? Is it a small calculated risk that will teach you skills that will make you more resilient, that will make you more able to withstand the storms that are happening around you? Or are they keeping you in a state of dependency on others? Because if it isn't increasing your individuation, it's not sovereignty. It is outsourcing your power and your agency to another. Remember that the queen informs the king. The Queen of Swords has come up in a lot of readings recently. And the queen, the feminine energy, the feminine sovereign energy, is about resting, reflecting, and eliminating. The king is about the action on those thoughts, right? The masculine energy is the sympathetic nervous system. It is the movement. It is the momentum. It is the drive. It is the doing, right? The active creating change. The feminine energy is receiving the information. So in the sovereignty, she receives the information. Your reticular activating system receives the information. The Queen of Swords has the ability to choose what she is going to feed or not. And she takes in the information. The parasympathetic nervous system and the reticular activating system take in the information. They feed it through your cognitive biases, your cognitive dissonance, your belief systems, what seems new to you and what isn't, and your threat detection system, and evaluates it and says, I'm going to operate off of this and feed that to the king, the doing energies, your sympathetic nervous system. I am going to eliminate this because it doesn't serve me. And that's where the queen informs the king, right? So Queen of Swords energy is out there a lot, which is calling you to notice what is coming in, notice what it is bringing up in you. And what it brings up in you is offering you a choice point. Does this serve me? Is this representative of who I am trying to be, who I am? Or is this somebody else's narrative and story that is keeping me small? That is the Queen of Swords energy. And she feeds that information, what she knows, to the king so that he can serve his kingdom. Okay. That's how we work with those energies. Okay, so Queen of Swords is coming out. Rest, reflect, eliminate. Eliminate. Okay. What was taken from you and what is distracting you is being shown to you at this time. That is where that Queen of Swords is noticing. She is seeing what the cost is, what the cost to your mental clarity, I'm about to sneeze, your mental clarity, your emotional state. There it goes. So the cost of all of this is being shown. There's also, along with the sparrows, and this, noticing the small things, right? This is the Queen of Swords. Notice the small things. Notice the common, ordinary might slip under your radar, like the everyday habits. What are you eating today? Did you maintain your commitment to exercise? Those kinds of things. Those are the sparrows. But the energy is also warned about duplicitous peacocks. It's been on my mind a lot over probably the last month. Duplicitous peacocks. And the peacocks are a really good spiritual sign when they're in balance, when they are in harmony and they're working for us. But a duplicitous peacock is something that is putting on a show, that is being flashy. You know, someone who talks a big game, but do they really have the competence to back up what they are saying? Evaluating the competence of the people around us is huge right now, and we're seeing it all over the world. How are people using their power? The power that we gave them, the power that you give them, the authority that you outsource to others. Are they using it to serve the greater good, to leave the world better than they found it? Or are they being a duplicitous peacock and using their authority, their magnetism, their attraction, their appeal and allure, their ability to manipulate in order to cause harm and subjugation. So notice that in your energies. Watch for the duplicitous peacocks. There's 3 others that came out along with the duplicitous peacocks. So pay attention to who appears to be standing in their emperor energies. And again, this is about, is their power subjugating others? Are they asking you to be something you're not? Are they asking you to sacrifice your values and your guiding principles in order to follow them? Then that is a duplicitous peacock. That is an emperor who made a bargain, and I'm talking archetypes. You can interpret this as spiritual entities if you want to, but I like the psychology lens in order to make this a little bit more inclusive for everybody, right? You don't have to believe in these things to operate with your psyche. But the emperor who is using his power for subjugation has made a bargain with the devil energies, right? If your values have to be sacrificed, your standards have to be lowered in order to follow another, an emperor, someone who appears to have it all, then that is an emperor that has given his power, gotten his power from the devil, right? It's corruption. There isn't authenticity. There was manipulation used to get to that place, and we're seeing that in the world. I don't need to over-explain that. You can see that in the world. You know exactly what I'm talking about if you look in your own world. Also, there's King of Wands energy. And King of Wands energy is someone who is obviously in the masculine doing, who seems in control and in charge of their actions and behaviors. But a magician gave them their power. So be careful about who is seeming to have power right now. And ask yourself, where did their authority and agency over me come from? If they got their power from a magician, and the magician isn't always bad either, but in this case, it isn't honest. Right? There was a sleight of hand, some manipulation in both this emperor and this King of Wands. So watch the people who are standing in authority, making moves from a place of authority, and ask yourself, are they making me give up my values? Do I have to sacrifice my values and guiding principles in order to serve and follow this person? Then they didn't come by their power and authority honestly or authentically. We can follow good leadership, but not at the cost of our values, not at the cost of our coherence, right? There's also, a page to a night energy, borrowed power. Watch for people with borrowed power and how they're wielding it. Just be very aware of the people who are demonstrating, making demonstrations of power right now. Because there's pages who are pretending to be knights, kings who are getting their power through sleight of hand and manipulation, and emperors who are subjugating others at the cost of their values and guiding principles, those who consume others. So be very aware of those powers and authorities around you. And this, you can look at this from the global stage, but I want you to really focus in your lived reality. The world stage is a macro mirror of what is happening in our lives, our daily lives, right? We are experiencing all of this in our own lived with realities, with how we interact with our everyday people, okay? And remember also that the division, there's less division than they're trying to convince us of. I just got done traveling all over the country. They're all the same. We're all the same. We're all here under the same powers, dealing with the same problems, the same challenges, having the same opinions about the people who are running the show. We're all overtaxed. We're all overburdened, and we're all being consumed. Okay, but they like using those lines of division to keep us biting at each other, because it's that movie, The Ants and the Grasshoppers, right? If we find out that there are more of us than them, then their power falls apart. Okay. So just be aware of those things. Those are really, really big in the energies. Let's see, what else do I have in here? Okay, there were some praises that came through too. There were some really, really big. So Spirit also wants you to celebrate the ways that you have had the courage, and strength to heal, to overcome your challenges and your own limiting beliefs. Celebrate your tenacity and the courage that you have to pick up your bootstraps and do the hard things, face those hard truths, to stop lying to yourself. The fact that you have done the healing, that you have done the work, that you have faced these things, that you have left these relationships that were consuming you, these places and things, these addictions that we have to our identities. So it's not about outside things, it's about our identity. All of this is coming down to what we identify with. Our ego wants our identity to be stable and fixed, and our identity was designed to be fluid. And the reason that we have problems with people, places, and things is because we attach our identities to them. We project ourself outward. And we look at the world outside of us to tell us who we are. But the energies right now, Spirit wants you to know that you have done the hard work and they are proud of you. That everything that you have put into motion is in motion. The energies are out there. If you are receiving the messages, the energies are already in motion. It just takes the temperance, the balancing your light and your dark, to allow for them to meet you. Okay, so don't project yourself too far forward. And don't hold yourself fixed in the past. Don't be Lot's wife and look backwards. And don't run so far ahead of yourself that you don't see what is happening right now. Drop into the now. The energies are already in motion. You have the response ability to meet what rises. And if you use your past as a data point to inform you, like when something rises that triggers you, you look at it and go, oh, there it is. I'm activated. I know exactly from the work that I've done the behavior that I need to install here. Okay. When we are injured, just like bone, we set the bone, we make sure things are in alignment, we adjust the stress so that it doesn't re-break it, we put the cast on, and we hold that until it is fixed, until it is steady and stable and able to carry us, until it is healed. And then it does heal, and we take the cast off, and we can reapply weight, and we can run with it again, because we have done the healing work, but then it is healed. Can it re-break? Can we get re-injured? Yes. We are living in a world where chaos is always going to happen. That's where creation comes from. That's where we get the ingredients for our brilliance, is from the chaos, right? Like, I wouldn't be talking to you if I hadn't experienced hard things, and you wouldn't be listening to me if you hadn't experienced hard things. That is where the polarity in our mind comes from. That is the curiosity, the seeking, the opportunity to create. So will things continue to injure us? Yes, because we're going to take calculated risks. And sometimes that is going to come from loss. But our healing work is to identify the wound and go, okay, I see it. Now I know the medicine to treat it so that I can heal and move forward. We don't keep picking at the scab. Don't keep picking at the scab. The energies around you want you picking at the scab. They want you looking backwards and staying in a fixed state. They want you to keep the cast on and keep you hobbled. Okay? And this isn't, even saying the outside energies want this. We have a saboteur in our own mind that does this. Because the other half of our brain wants us to stay where it is familiar, because even familiar pain seems safe. But it keeps us in Plato's cave. I really like that I live in a time period, and I'm going to close on this. I really, really am excited and like that I live in a time period where that Plato's cave analogy gets to be rewritten. Because in the cave analogy, it didn't end so well. The one that saw the shadows on the wall and told everybody, hey, look, they're just shadows. Look, there's a way out. There's a ladder and a way out and a whole other world out there full of light. The way Plato's cave ends is they didn't listen and they stayed in the cave, right? There's also the Cassandra myth where Cassandra predicted the fall of Troy. She even predicted her own death, and they could have avoided the entire Trojan War, but nobody listened to her. And we're not in that state anymore. There are more and more of us awake. More and more of us consciously choosing to program our own minds instead of letting other people have authority over how we think and how we feel about things and what we believe about our reality. I look around the world. I look at, the things that are happening. And today, if, you're listening to this in real time, tonight is the State of the Union address. It's February 2026 when I am filming this. I'm not excited about the State of the Union address, and not because I'm going to express one side or the other. I just know that every time I turn on the TV and watch news, it looks like the world is on fire. But more and more of us are awake. More and more of us can see that there's shadows on the wall. It's not, I don't have to play into the fear narratives. I don't have to be conditioned and programmed by them to hate other people, to consume other people, their time or attention, which same thing, right? Their resources, which the most precious resource we have is their time and attention, right? So thank you for offering me that now. But more of us are awake and we're getting out of the cave. We are being called to be prepared, right? Balance your shadow and your light. Your shadow energies are the ones that protected you. They were brilliant survival strategies. And now you just need to consciously choose how to use them. You learned them on the fly reactively, brilliantly. That's how I know your little critters are very, very smart, because when you were too small to know any better, it came up with a brilliant system. Hypervigilance is a brilliant skill when consciously chosen and used for leadership. I see the threat. I identify the threat. Now, instead of reacting and looking for somebody else to save me and going into a panic state, I can step into my own values and guiding principles and stand in my authority and agency. That's the preparedness. And more of us are awake. More of us see the light, the hole in the top of the cave, and the ladder and the way out. So be proud of the work that you have done. You've done a great job. You're here. You're doing it. Watch out for the duplicitous peacocks and choose where you place your power. Choose where you place your power. Living sovereign doesn't mean that you lord power over others. It means that you do not allow others to lord their power over you. You choose what you believe. You choose what you follow. You choose what you think, and you choose what you feel. And in doing that, your actions will be in coherence with what is right for you. And that's what I've got. I love you. You're doing great. I love you.